Dobie, dear, don't you have an early class? You better be going.
We're getting a ride, Mom. We're going to be picked up in a minute.
Oh, why, of course they're going to be picked up, Winnie. Why, you don't expect these poor boys to walk for 15 consecutive minutes on those wobbly little legs of theirs, do you?
Who's picking you up, dear?
A princess, a queen, a vision of loveliness.
A chick.
Hi, Dobie. Hi, Maynard. Have you got it?
Oh, hi, Daphne, my heart. It's right here. Voila.
Dobie, this is marvelous. Early trends in Peruvian architecture. How cute.
Mom, Dad, this is Daphne Winsett, the future Mrs. Dobie Gillis, if everything goes according to plan.
How do you do?
Just a moment. Did you say you're getting married?
Mrs. Gillis, Mr. Gillis, you have a very cute boy, even though his imagination has a tendency to run away with him.
But there's nothing serious between you and Dobie.
What a ridiculous idea.
You think my boy Dobie's ridiculous?
Oh, no, I think Dobie's darling.
But there's nothing serious between you.
How could there be? Dobie's a dreamer. All he cares about is culture and art and poetry. Me, on the other hand, what I like is business and commerce and finance.
And loot. Well, if there is such a vast difference between you and Dobie, how come you're all the time hanging around?
Well, he's nice looking.
Yeah.
And he's a good dancer.
Yeah.
And he has a nice sense of humor.
Yeah.
And he does your homework?
And he does my homework.
Like Daphne Winsett said, I'm a man who's interested in truth and beauty. But what Daphne wants is a man who's interested in business and finance. So I, Dobie Gillis, poet and dreamer, am going to turn into Dobie Gillis, financier and tycoon. And right now.
You, Mr. Gillis, are taking economics?
You, Mr. Pomfret, are teaching economics?
I asked you first. What is an unlikely type like you doing in an economics class? And oh, what a foolish question. Who is she?
Her name's Daphne Winsett.
Well, that accounts for you, Mr. Gillis. What about you, Mr. Krebs? What are you doing here?
I'm with Dobe.
That's your only reason.
Right. Oh, and a word of warning to you, sir.
What's that?
If you try to throw me out, I cry.
Stay, Mr. Krebs. By all means, stay.
Okay, Mr. Pomfret, it's your turn. What are you doing in economics?
Yeah, Mr. Pomfret. I mean, you teach history and poetry and biology and all that jazz. What do you know about economics?
Yeah, very little, as I am about to demonstrate. However, the dean told me this morning to teach economics, and one does not argue with the dean.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be very good at it.
I'm not.
Nor am I. However, let us be of good heart. Please take your seats, and together we will venture into the unexplored jungle of money and banking.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
You want a tycoon? I'll be a tycoon.
Oh, Dobie, don't be silly. Why don't you stick to art and poetry and leave the finance to the financiers?
Good thinking.
Maynard, you're supposed to be on my side.
I've been assigned to take over this class in economics from Professor Randolph, who had the good sense to reach retirement age last Friday. Now, my teaching economics may turn out to be one of the major errors in the history of higher education. I will gladly accept applications for transfer at the end of the hour. Meanwhile, let us take up the subject of marketing. Can anyone here give me a nice, brief definition of the word You, Mr. Krebs, on your first day?
Mr. G does it. That's Dobe's father, Mr. G. What he does, he goes down to the market with them farmer cats and he sneers and says, I wouldn't feed them carrots to a condemned horse.
No.
Then he walks away and shakes his head and gets some carrots down about 7 cents a bunch.
Maynard.
And takes them back to the grocery, marks them up to 49 cents a
Maynard,
bunch.
cease and desist.
Then my mother comes in and looks at him and says and yells, 49 cents a bunch for them carrots? What are they, like dipped in platinum? I wouldn't urge.
Enough. Now, I think you've got the general idea, Maynard, but we're dealing here with a broader conception of the term marketing. Now, can anyone else give...
Excuse me, Professor Pomfret, but this is pretty elementary stuff. Professor Randolph had us all the way to page 97.
I see. Puts you roughly 96 pages ahead of me. What is your assignment for today?
Commodity futures.
What futures?
Oh, like eggs, wheat, butter, cotton. See, today's quotations from the Chicago Commodity Exchange are on the board. We each invested $5,000, hypothetically, of course. The idea is to buy when the commodity is low and sell when it's high.
Well, then I take it everyone in class has picked a commodity.
That's right.
Oh, well, then why don't we have a progress report? We'll start with you, Miss Winsett.
Well, I'm speculating in egg futures. I bought 15,000 dozen fresh shell eggs Monday at 29 cents, and they're up 2 cents, which gives me a $300 profit so far.
Congratulations. Now, Mr.
But, Professor Pomfret,
Yes?
you're supposed to ask whether I'm selling or staying with my purchase.
All right. Are you selling or staying with your purchase?
I'm staying because eggs are in short supply and they should keep rising in price.
Fine. And now, Mr.
Professor Pomfret,
Yes?
Professor Randolph always grades us on our decisions and explains whether they're good or bad.
That's what Professor Randolph always does, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to dismiss the class and go do some homework. Maybe in a couple of months I'll catch up with the rest of you. Class dismissed. Yo, hello, Dean.
Well, that's an auspicious start. Your class lasted exactly 10 minutes.
Well, that was 10 minutes too long, considering the preparation I had.
Pomfret, I like you. You're an intelligent, scholarly man, and that's good.
Well, thank you, sir.
But that's not enough today. Classwork is fine in its way, but don't take it so seriously. You should get around more, meet people, make contacts, give talks, operate, wheel and deal. Put S. Peter Pryor Junior College on the map.
Well, I was kind of under the impression that you'd hired me to teach.
So I did, Pomfret, so I did. But there's much more to it than that. Do you know there are millions of dollars kicking around for research grants, government contracts, new laboratories, new buildings?
Well, I suppose there are, but what's that got to do with me?
Why, everything, man. The colleges that get all that loot are the colleges where the teachers make a splash.
I'm afraid I'm not the splashy type.
Yes, I'm afraid you're right.
I have only one serious failing as a teacher. All I can do is teach.
Well, I guess every college gets stuck with a few like you.
Those are the breaks.
Carry on, Pomfret.
Oh, and thanks for the words of inspiration and guidance, sir.
Anytime, son. Anytime.
Dobie, who are you kidding? You'll never learn economics.
Daphne, yes, I will.
No, he won't.
Take today's class in marketing, for instance. Did you understand one word of it?
Why, sure.
All right. What were they talking about?
Commodity.
He's got you there, girl.
And what are commodities?
Well, they're, well, everybody knows what commodities are.
I don't.
And neither does Dobie.
Well, I'll learn.
Learning isn't enough. Any fool can understand about eggs and butter and soybeans and stuff like that. But to know when to buy and when to sell, it's got to be in your blood. And you, dear Dobie, have the blood of a poet.
No, Daphne, I'll learn how to buy and sell, too.
What's the use, though? Even if you do learn, which you won't, where are you going to get the loot? You see where those kids were tossing money around that class? Man, they must be all, like, loaded.
Maynard, that money was just on paper.
Who cares where you keep it? On paper, in your shoes? You could even line your undies with it. No offense.
Maynard, that was hypothetical money. It's not for real.
You mean it's like pretend money?
That's right. And pretend money is the only kind of money you and your dreamy friend here are ever going to have. So, Dobie, let's not try to be what we're not. Forget about economics and just go on being the sweet, penniless, dreamy schnook you've always been. Goodbye, Dobie, dear.
I'll show her. Someday I'll prove to her that I'm hard and keen and practical and shrewd.
You? Oh, come
I'll
now.
study economics real hard. I'll buy and sell those commodities so well that at the end of the semester I'll have more hypothetical money than any kid in the whole class.
You? Oh, come
And it's
now.
all very simple. I'll just buy whatever Daphne buys.
Hey, good thinking. Too bad you have to do it with pretend money instead of using, like, real money. Because then you really have real money, and you wouldn't have to pretend it was real.
Maynard, you've just given me an idea.
Me? Oh, come now.
Hey, listen carefully. I'll buy whatever Daphne buys. Only when I buy, it won't be hypothetical. I'll put down hard cash.
Brilliant, though.
And I'll get rich. Really rich. Not just on paper. And Daphne will be mine, mine, mine.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you, Maynard.
Only one thing wrong.
What?
This hard cash to invest, where are you going to get it?
Maynard had put his finger right on the problem. Where was I going to get some good hard cash to invest? Well, the answer wasn't too tough. I'd make a little loan. Say, $500. Who'd lend me $500? Well, naturally, the first person I thought of was...
Me? $500?
Dobie, dear, your father's right. We're really not in a position to lend you $500. However, I admire your ambition, and I'm prepared to help you in every way that I can.
What are you going to do, give him a side of beef? Winnie, your coat. Why, that coat cost us 2 whole summer vacations.
Hush, this thing needs cleaning, and the lining is ripped.
Mom, you're all heart.
So if you take this in for cleaning and sewing, I'll give you $1. There. Isn't that a good start?
Thanks a lot, Mom. Okay, call me weak.
You're weak.
Okay, call me sneaky.
You're sneaky.
That was a rotten, shameful thing I did, hocking my mom's fur coat. But what could I do? I had to have Daphne Winsett. I had to. So I put my plan into operation immediately. I went to see a broker. Naturally, I didn't want him to think I was just a green kid, so I kind of spruced up a little for the occasion. The name's Gillis, son. I expect you heard of me.
I'm not sure that I
Well,
have...
possibly not. I try to keep my operations as quiet as possible. You do understand, huh?
Of course, Mr. Gillis. Won't you sit down?
Oh, thank you, son. Thank you.
Can I order you some coffee, sir?
If you don't mind, son, I prefer a glass of no thanks, son.
Now then, what can I do for you, sir?
I've heard some good things about your firm, Mitt Gang. Mighty good things.
Thank you, sir.
So I thought I'd take a little flyer with you in a small way, of course.
Well, I'm sure you'll be satisfied with our service, Mr. Gillis. Now, precisely, what are you interested in?
Yeah, commodity futures, son. Be precise, eggs. Hen eggs.
Uh-huh. I happen to agree with you, sir. Eggs are a very smart buy right now.
Well, I didn't get where I got by being stupid, huh, Mitt Gang?
Of course, sir. Let me buzz my associates.
No, don't tell anybody else. I mean, let's do this as quietly as we can. I mean, if the word gets out that Gillis is buying...
Say no more.
Yeah.
All right, sir. What do you say to something in the neighborhood of $10,000 or $12,000 a day?
Yeah, well, have you got any other neighborhoods?
500?
Well, I'm spread a bit thin for that. What's the smallest buy?
Let me see. 15,000 dozen eggs, that's $5,000, which makes the margin $500.
That's roughly what I was thinking of. Now, let's run over the profit picture again. When the eggs go up like that,
Mr. Funk's lard is up 2 cents. That makes $200, and he's staying with it. Very good. Now, Miss Winsett?
My eggs have gone up 3.5 cents. That's another $525. I'm staying with them because the broker's column in the Journal says that jet aircraft over the northern poultry farms are unsettling the hens, and eggs are continuing in short supply.
Excellent. You have a brilliant future as a broker, Miss Winsett. How about you, Mr. Gillis?
I'm with Daphne. I bought eggs, too.
Well, that's more intelligent than I could have expected. And you, Mr. Krebs?
Could I borrow another 10,000 or so?
I take it Caribbean copra is still falling.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take a flyer in Tunisian tinfoil. I figure with the TV dinner season coming up, I'm gonna clean up, because...
We'll take up your case tomorrow, Mr. Krebs. Class dismissed.
Daphne, has anyone ever told you that you're beautiful and adorable and smart and desirable and keen and yummy and shrewd and wonderful?
Of course.
And you're the greatest egg expert in the country.
Is that all it takes to impress you? A simple little marketing problem?
To you, it's a simple little marketing problem. To me, it's the key to paradise. And to my mother...
Your mother?
With her coat and your brains, the sky's the limit. Met Gang, this is Get Rich Quick Gillis. I couldn't get over to the ticker today. What's the picture? $925, huh? Not bad at all. Hello, Mitt Gang. How'd my eggs do today? $1,255, huh? No. I've got my experts watching it, and I'm staying in. Hello, Mitt Gang. Gillis here. How's everything at the Omelet Foundry today? Up another cent? What?
Sell now.
Sell? Don't be ridiculous, my good man.
But, Mr. Gillis, I wish you'd take my
Mitt
suggestion
Gang.
before it's too late. The
Mitt...
market is at a complete standstill.
Mitt Gang, please, I must remind you that they're my eggs, and I'll sell them when I'm ready. Poor man, apparently the big money panics him.
Dobie Gillis,
Yes, Mom?
aren't you forgetting part of our bargain?
What bargain?
I gave you $1 to take my coat to the cleaners days ago.
Oh, yeah.
Well, dear, that $1 was for a round trip. You're supposed to pick it up, too, you know.
Oh, sure. Well, it may be a few days yet, Mom.
A few days?
And I may have a little surprise for you. How'd you like a nice big sealskin muff to go with it?
Dobie, be serious. That coat is the best thing I own.
Maybe we'll get you a mink or a sable. Then you can wear the sealskin for every day.
Just exactly what are you up to?
Mom, they laughed at the old easygoing impractical Dobie. Now there's been some changes made. Trust me for a couple of more days, and I'll have a wonderful surprise for you. Bye, Mom.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, I'll probably get the hang of this commodity business by the end of the semester. Meanwhile, I must say that you all impress me with your savvy in marketing. There's only one student in the class who's lost money in commodities.
It's only $3 and my luck's bound to change.
No, Mr. Krebs, that decimal point is way over on the right. It's 300,000 bucks. Well, let's finish up now. Your report, please, Miss Winsett.
Eggs went up another 2 cents yesterday. My total profit was $1,150, and of course I sold.
Splendid. That kind of money gets an A+ in my book. Mr. Gillis, I suppose you followed our fair wizard's lead?
Not on your life. Eggs are still going up, and I'm not selling. I'm waiting until they slow down.
I see.
Just a minute, Dobie. Professor Pomfret, you had to sell yesterday.
Who had to sell?
Anybody who doesn't want to take delivery on the eggs, that's who.
What do you mean?
Because yesterday was Spot Day, genius. The 15th is closing day in the Chicago egg market.
Spot day. What does that mean?
Yes, Daphne, what does that mean?
It means if you don't sell on Spot Day, you actually have to accept delivery on the commodity.
Now, you mean if, for instance, somebody bought 15,000 dozen eggs and didn't sell them yesterday, they'd actually deliver 15,000 dozen eggs to him?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Tell me something, Dobie. Do you often turn a bright, vivid green?
That's right, Mr. Gillis. You now own 15,000 dozen fresh shell eggs.
I thought that's what you said.
You're setting your cool on, Mr. Gillis. I realized yesterday when you wouldn't let me sell out, you had plans for those eggs.
Oh, yeah, us Gillises are big eaters.
Well, to the matter at hand, your freight carload of eggs will be arriving at the Grove Street siding in a couple of days. Just let me know about your warehouse facilities, the fleets of trucks, and so on, and your check for the $4,500 will be due when the eggs arrive.
Yeah.
So congratulations, and I hope to be seeing more of you.
Thank you, Mr. Midgang. Thank you very much. You and Mrs. Midgang will have to drop over to the house sometime for eggnog.
You pawned my fur coat?
And you spent the money to buy eggs with?
I know I shouldn't have, but I saw a chance to make a nice profit. And it wasn't just for me, it was for all of us.
You did a wrong thing, Dobie, but I can't find it in my heart to be too hard on you.
Well, me neither, son. I guess you just got merchandising in your blood, you know, just like your old man. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you get rid of them eggs. How many you got?
15,000 dozen.
15,000 dozen, huh? Well, I'll just set up a little display here, see? And maybe I'll take and add in the...
Dad, I know it seems like a lot.
Seems like a lot, boy. You are underplaying. There ain't that many working hens in the whole United States of America, including Minneapolis and St. Paul. That's more dozen eggs than there are people in this whole town.
I don't need my coat. I can just spend the rest of my life in the store.
Dad, I hate to ask at a time like this, but when the eggs arrive,
Yes.
I'll need another $4,500.
$4,500.
Just until I sell the eggs, of course.
Winnie. Don't depend on spending the rest of your life in the store. I'm going to have to sell it to pay for that guy's eggs.
All right, call me a rat.
You rat?
Call me a skunk.
You skunk?
Never mind. But that's what I am. A rat and a skunk. A rat and a skunk with 15,000 dozen eggs. Where was I going to get rid of them? Where?
Your trouble's over, good buddy.
Maynard, you sold the eggs.
Every last one of them.
Maynard, I could kiss you.
Well, just a little one on the cheek.
Yeah, never mind. Maynard, where'd you sell the eggs?
Well, I was reading in the newspaper where the Girl Scouts are going to have a national jamboree, so I went to see the head Girl Scout lady. And I said, "Head Girl Scout lady, what's a jamboree without hard-boiled eggs?" And she said, "Mr. Krebs?" That's what she called me, Mr. Krebs. How about that, Dobe? They don't even call my father Mr. Krebs.
Maynard, what'd she say?
Who?
The head Girl Scout lady.
Oh, she said, "Mr. Krebs, you're absolutely right." How about that, Dobe, calling me Mr. Krebs? They don't even call my
Maynard,
father.
we already did that.
Oh, she said she'd take every one of the eggs when they had the jamboree.
Oh, Maynard, you're wonderful. When's the jamboree?
6 months from last Tuesday. Don't be a faint heart, good buddy. I got like another swinging idea. Like, behold, only 235 shopping days until Easter. Get your Easter eggs now.
Maynard, how can I thank you enough?
What are friends for?
No, it's no use to me. There's only one thing I can do. Only one thing.
You're quitting school.
Yes, sir, I came to say goodbye.
Oh, now hold on, Dobie. Don't get discouraged. Well, I think you're really beginning to get the hang of economics.
I think not. Sir, you remember those egg futures I was buying hypothetically?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't hypothetical. I really bought them, and I really own them. 15,000 dozen eggs. And I'm quitting school to get a job to make the money to pay back my father.
Oh, Dobie, I can't tell you how sorry I am, and it's all my fault. If I'd known my course properly, I would have taught you to sell those eggs when you were supposed to.
Well, if I'd studied harder, I would have known myself.
I guess we're neither of us businessmen.
You can say that again.
Just a couple of academic schnooks.
How well you put it.
Hello, Dean.
Hello, Pomfret. Goodbye, Gillis.
Goodbye, Dean. Goodbye, Mr. Pomfret. Thanks for everything.
Well, come and see me sometime.
Yes, I will, Mr. Pomfret. Bye.
Well, Pomfret, I must say your students show a great deal of affection for you. Honesty compels me to say, however, that this affection is not shared by the administration.
Now what have I done?
It's what you haven't done. You teach biology, don't you?
Yes, and poetry and history and economics, plus I coach the debating and fencing team.
Well, let's just stick to biology for the moment. Are you aware, Pomfret, that the United States Public Health Service has advertised for bids for a new experimental vaccine?
No, sir.
Of course not. You would know about things like that. You would know that some go-getting biology lab run by some go-getting professor would make a tidy little profit for his university. You wouldn't know about things like that.
No, sir, I wouldn't know about things like that.
Of course not. You're an egghead.
That's right, I'm an... Dean, did you say that the government was looking for a lab to grow a new experimental vaccine?
Ah, so you were listening.
Well, I may not be a go-getter or a wheeler and dealer, but I know biology.
So do I. So what?
So where do you grow a vaccine culture?
In fresh eggs, of course.
Aha!
Aha, what? There isn't an egg to be had in the whole state. Don't you think I've been trying?
How many do you need?
Thousands and thousands. Why?
What would you say if I was to tell you that I knew where to put my hands on more eggs than you've seen in your entire life?
I'd say that you were cracking up.
Boy, have you got a surprise coming, Dean, baby.
And furthermore, Pomfret... Dean, baby.
Dobie! Dobie!
Yes, sir?
Dobie, my merchant prince, come back in here on the double.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's going on here, Pomfret?
Just relax a minute, Dean, baby. You'll find out.
Dean, baby.
What is it, Mr. Pomfret?
Dobie, you wouldn't happen to know where the Dean here could lay his hands on thousands and thousands of fresh shell eggs, would you?
Well, it just so happens that I've got thousands and thousands of fresh shell eggs.
Oh, and would you be willing to sell them to the Dean?
Delighted.
Well, sir, what do you say to that?
Just call me Dean, baby.
Good morning, Dobie.
Oh, hi, Daphne.
I heard all about your big egg deal at school. You're the hero of the campus.
Oh, I do what I can.
Have you got it?
Got what?
My history homework.
No, Daphne, I don't have it.
I don't understand.
It's very simple. I'm not going to do your homework anymore.
You're kidding.
No, Daphne. A long time ago, you agreed I was a whiz in poetry and history and like that, true?
True.
But I was a knucklehead in business and finance. Well, I just proved I'm not such a knucklehead after all. Now, think it over, Daphne. A man who knows art and culture and also business and finance. Well, a man like that's quite a catch.
But...
I mean, a man like that doesn't have to do a girl's homework in order to hang on to her. And a girl who finds herself a man like that can count herself pretty lucky. Now, think it over, Daphne. Think it over.
Goodbye, Dobie.
Where are you going?
To think it over.
Daphne.
And I think pretty slow. It may take several years.
My poor
Now, don't tantrum now, Winnie. Chin up, son. Nobody likes a crybaby.
Sure, Dad.
Remember that old thing, boy, about laugh and the world laughs with you, cry and you cry alone. But the man worthwhile is the one who can smile when everything goes dead wrong.
Hey, great. Come here, Dad. I want you to do some smiling.
Huh?
Dad, remember how the college bought those eggs for that experiment?
Oh, yeah, and I was sure proud of you, boy, unloading all that 15,000 dozen eggs.
Yeah, well, Dad, they didn't exactly take all 15,000 dozen eggs.
Oh?
Dad, start smiling.
Oh?